Hey guys, I'd like to show you the game from the fourth round in the Leiden Chess Tournament, which I played against the Indian Grandmaster Sundar Shyam, rated a little above 2500. Well, first games I only played some 1900, 2000 players, and I was struggling quite a bit in those games. So I didn't really have any high expectations starting this game, and I just wanted to play and just see what happens. And um, I was just hoping to play an interesting game, complicate things a bit, and yeah, just see how it goes. So he went for 1e5, and these Indian players are quite known that they play so many different openings, so it's always quite difficult to prepare against them. So I did check a few things, but I thought I'll just wait and see what happens during the game and then just play. So we went to the riddle pass, and I played 5d3 and he answered with d6, which I think is a very healthy way for black to answer this move. c3, g6, castles, bishop g7. So far it's all theory, rook e1, but he decides to postpone the move b7, b5, which is a very common move, of course, in every riddle pass basically, but also in this line it's quite common to just chase the bishop to b3 or c2. But he just didn't play this move, and I didn't really know what to do. He played rook e8 and played h3, which is a useful move. Played h6 and played knight f1, and now he played b5. But because of his move order, he just tricked me into some line I didn't really want to play at first. So I had some other ideas in the preparation, and this was not one of them. It doesn't mean it's bad, but he just caught me off guard a little bit here. So I went bishop c2, and I played d5, and I just wasn't ready for this move so quickly, and I wasn't really sure what to do. And I played quite a bad move, I think. I played the move queen e2, and I did this because I know queen e2 is like a common reply to d5 by black. But that's normally when the white king is still in the center and you don't want to exchange the queens. In this case, you don't really mind, and I should have played the logical move a4 and try to put some pressure on b5. If he goes b4, I can play a5. And now I can put my bishop on a4, which is a very nice square. Pinning the knight and the rook on e8, so I get some counterplay here. And because all I want is to put pressure on his center, basically. Especially the pawn on e5, because that's the one he weakens after playing d5. So I need to try and seek for some counterplay, else I just give him the center like that without any resistance. And then he has an edge quite quickly in the game. So after queen e2, he does have an edge. He played bishop e6, and now I played a4, but queen e2 was just unnecessary at this point. And I had some different problems as well, because he played the move b4. And here I noticed that if I play a5, for example, he can go b3, and that hurts a little bit, because I can't take the pawn, because he can take on e4. And since he's attacking the knight and the bishop, I am in trouble. Because if I take on e6, he takes an f3, if I take back, simply rook takes, protects the knight, and he's up a piece. Which means I can't play a5 here, and that was kind of my plan, to play a5, bishop a4. So I thought for a bit here, and I decided I need to at least be able to prevent b3 at this point. So I decided to play knight back to d2. And at this point, I realized something went wrong in the opening, quite obviously. But okay, you just gotta admit your mistakes sometimes and just play the game. So I played knight e2, and I was actually hoping for him to... he also realized b3 is an option. And I was hoping for him to continue this threat with rook b8. That's exactly what he played. He played rook b8. And the funny thing is, it seems like he reinforces this b3 idea, so the knight covers, but also the rook covers b3 once more. So it seems like it's fine again, and b3 is still coming. But here I played the move a5 still, and I was just playing for this trick, because I was hoping for him to play b3 at this point, and which is not so good. I think he could play any other move. Even rook b5 is possible, even though it might look a bit shaky, but it is possible for him to play. He can also just play a queen move. Just any move is fine. He has a very healthy position, and it's just slightly better. But he played the move b3, and yeah, I just had a cheap trick here, so I can take with the bishop now. He took an e4, and I can just take back. And the idea is, if he takes with the bishop on b3, I can take with the knight, rook takes, I can go queen c4. And attacking the rook and the knight on c6. And the a5 move is very useful because I cover the b6 square. So he can't bring his rook back to defend the knight. Nor can he play knight a5 because that square is now occupied by the pawn and protected by the rook. So by playing a5, I create this double attack on the knight and the rook, which ensures me that I get back my piece. So he played b3 and took an e4, and he decided to take with the rook on b3, which is his alternative. So now he gives up a rook, and for now just one pawn against two pieces, but the a6 pawn is hanging as well. And I thought if I get the a6 pawn, I got a rook and two pawns for two pieces, and I got some nice pawn majority on the queen side, because I have 3 pawns against a single one on c7. So I thought I have some opportunities there, and at least the position is a bit of a mess. A few moves back I was pretty sure I was just slightly worse, and now the position is getting unclear. And actually the engine says I'm already better, but I didn't really notice yet how strong my initiative can be. And I just wanted to mobilize my pawns, and I figured I need to get rid of the bishop on b3. So I played the move rook a3, which is not the best move. I could have probably played queen a6 better here. Queen d6 and just get the queen back to e2. That would have been just better. There's no need for me to chase the bishop away from b3 apparently. I played rook a3, he went back with the bishop, I played queen takes a6. I was quite happy because I can always support my pawn with b4 now. And I thought, well, if I support this pawn, I can, slightly push both pawns forward and then probably annoy him enough to get a better position somehow. So he played queen a8, I went back to e2, he played rook b8, and here I was stuck for a bit because I wanted to play b4, but the problem is if I go b4, he can play knight e8, and it looks quite nice, all these pawns here, but my bishop is a bit lame. And it's going to be quite difficult for me to control these light squares. And I need those squares because else I can't push my pawns. And he's going to play a move like knight d6 and bishop c4. But at least the knight on d6 also covers all these squares. And it's going to be very hard for me to mobilize my pawns. So I wasn't really sure what to do. But then I noticed, wait, I don't need to push my b pawn. It was my plan, my initial plan, but here I realized maybe I should just push my a6 pawn, my a pawn, and play a6, because now this pawn is going to keep his pieces busy, because I'm just going to push my pawn forward, and he's going to need, well, for now it's the queen on a8 blocking the pawn, but if I can keep his queen there to block my pawn's pawn, that's quite an important piece. So I decided I should just push my pawns and just this a pawn only, because I can easily support the pawn with rook a1 and bishop e3 and a7. So at this point I thought, well, maybe if I just push my a pawn, I have a very good position. And that's actually the case. I played a6, he played knight e8, and I played a7. And he can't really take on a7 because there's always a nasty pin, knight takes, bishop e3. Yeah, so now it's already pinned and I can bring more pieces quite easily, and I will eventually win the knight. So that means he can't take my pawn, so he has to play rook b7. I played bishop e3 to protect the pawn, he played knight d6, and I played queen a6. So suddenly I have this huge initiative, and I totally underestimated the power of my a pawn. But once it's on a7, it's so obvious that it's a very good plan for white. It just took me a while to realize this. And that's also why it was not necessary to play rook a3, because I have no intentions of playing b4 because it's just way too slow. I just only need my a pawn anyway. So here he played the move knight d8, and I have a few ideas. So what I want to do, basically I want to get this queen away from a8, yeah, so I can push my pawn and promote. I have a few ways to do that. I can, for example, take this rook, yeah, and force him to take with the queen. However, there's still two knights defending the rook. So I thought, well, if I can get rid of those knights, then I can threaten to take the rook and force him to take with the queen and then push my a pawn. So I thought, well, I should just go rook d1 here. Just put pressure on those knights. For the simple reason, let's say he takes on e4, which is a terrible move. I take the knight on d8 with check. Also, just I win the rook now. But even if you don't win the rook, promoting my pawn is, of course, one of the biggest threats as well. So I'm tying those knights down to protect b7, and he played rook takes b2 because his rook is actually a target. He's not really attacking a7 because it's overprotected at this point. So his rook on b7 is just a target. Now he took the pawn on b2, and here the position is quite complicated because I have so many ways of trying to sacrifice my way into his position. If I can get rid of both knights and get his queen away from a8, I'm winning, but it was quite difficult to see. And then again, I was really trying to tell myself the entire time I don't have to win with a trick. I have a good position because simply my rook and my pawn are keeping this queen busy, which means I have a big advantage on the rest of the board, a material advantage. So I did see the line queen a5, simply attacking c7 and e5. c7 is very important because c7 is supporting the knight on d6, and if I can get rid of that knight, then this rook is gonna somehow attack both knights or take a knight and push my a pawn. So getting the c7 pawn is very important. So he has to go rook b7, and I can just play knight e5. And here I thought, well, it's just a pawn, but the computer showed me that my plan of pushing my c pawn, c4, c5, and thereby eliminating these knights is just totally winning. And he can't move this d6 knight. Let's say, let's say knight b5 maybe. I can just take on d8. Yeah, queen takes and a8. Queen, that was the plan I was talking about previously. So the position of the knight takes e5 is totally winning. I grab a pawn and I can push my c pawn and just win the game. And just to show you another line, if you get rook b5, I also have these kinds of tricks. I can take on b5, knight takes, take on d8, queen takes, get myself a new queen, and have a very good position. I'll be up the exchange and a pawn. So these tricks are quite common the entire time, but I just miss it in this position. So after rook takes b2, I played the move bishop c5, just trying to get rid of this knight in the most direct way possible, basically. So he played bishop c4, and things were getting a bit tricky at this point. I played queen a5, and he played bishop e2. And here, I knew queen a5 was a good move, but once again, I didn't realize why. I just played this for the main reason to take the pawn on c7. And but I also have another trick of trying to get my queen to d5. I take this queen, which is another way to try to get rid of the queen on a8, just to attack it. But I was calculating quite a bit, but I wasn't sure about queen takes c7. I thought it was quite logical, the most direct way to put these knights under pressure and try to make way to the black queen, basically. So if he takes on d1, I can take on d6. But I wasn't sure. I thought he could take on f3, and he can go bishop f8, which is a very, very tricky move. And I thought, well, I'm very glad I saw this move as a defense for black. Because the idea is if he goes queen b8, and just take. If you take, queen takes, bishop takes, and the bishop on d6 is pinned, so you lose your rook on a3. So I thought bishop f8 was a very good move, but apparently the engine told me I can just take on f8, I can take on e5, and now what's going to happen is I'm going to threaten to pin the knight on e8. So this check is quite annoying. So let's say he goes king g8. I can give a check. King g7, I can just play c4. And next move rook d3, and I'm just going to win this knight. And also, if I get my rook on the 8th rank, I have some checkmate threats on h8 as well. So this is apparently totally winning, but it was too deep for me to see. And also quite messy with all the possibilities for black and white. So I didn't play this move. I decided to go rook d5. And I played this move quite quickly because I wanted to put him under some time pressure here. He played bishop f8. And here, once again, I could just take the pawn on e5. But as I mentioned before, it's just the position is so crazy. And these are, yeah, some computer lines. And it's not always easy to see these things in advance. So I'm not going to go too deep into all these computer lines. We'll just show you the game. So I played bishop b4. I thought it was quite nice to cut off the rook, simply because he can't really help and defend anymore, and the c7 pawn is weak, and I can try to take the pawn, go queen b8. I have many ideas here. So he decided to take the knight on f3. I took back with the pawn, went knight e6, and yeah, now it gets a bit complicated because suddenly you have to be careful not to get checkmated. Sounds weird, but if I give him the opportunity to play knight f4 and then queen d8, I can happily push my pawn, but queen g5 will end in a lot of tears because queen g2 is going to be checkmate eventually. So I should be careful at this point. So I realized I need to do something quickly because I lost control of the position a little bit. I gave him too much counterplay. For the simple reason that I probably played on tricks a bit too much. I should have just played the position just slowly, but I wanted to finish him off as quickly as I could. And I think that backfired a little bit because I gave him an escape. I took on d6 with the idea of going queen d5, attack the queen, and then push my a pawn. So he took with the pawn. I wanted to play queen d5. Then I realized he can go queen d8, and I can queen my pawn, but I wasn't sure what's going to happen after queen g5. And it's scary stuff. King f1, you can already make a perpetual by going queen c1, king g2, queen g5. But I wouldn't be surprised if he had even more. So this is not what I should play. So I didn't play queen d5. I played queen b6, which is a much better move because now I don't allow him to go queen d8. That's just not possible now because I still cover the d8 square. So he played knight f4, and this was his last chance to make a draw. He could have played knight g5. I'll show you how just in a bit. First I'll show the game because he played knight f4. Looks very logical, trying to create this checkmate, this mating net. So I played queen b8. He took the pawn on h3. I played king h2, and he took on f2. Took the knight. He took the pawn on f3 as well. King g2, and he took an e4. And this was quite scary because if I queen my pawn once again, he can checkmate me quite easily this time. So I can't queen my pawn. But then I saw, wait, I can just take the bishop on f8 with check. And if he takes, queen my pawn, he gets to take, and I take with check. And next move, I can just take the rook, and the endgame is easily winning. So I took an f8, he played king h7, his final try, and I queen h8. It's a pretty move, but I just got to make sure I promote my pawn with check and I exchange his queen. So if he takes, once again, promote the pawn, queen takes, rook takes, and winning the endgame. So that was actually quite a nice end of the game. It's always nice to be able to execute such a nice tactic. But let's go back to this position because I told you he had knight g5 as a way to draw the game. So what happens after knight g5? I can go queen b8 once again. He can take the pawn on f3. I can go king g2. He gets check on h4. I go king g3. And now he can take the pawn on e4 once again. Still so many checkmate threats by black that I should go for the same idea. Queen takes f8. King takes a8 queen. Queen takes, rook takes. King e7. Now I can take the knight. But he still has a rook on the board, so he can take the pawn on f2. King g3, rook d2, and the engine thinks it's a dead draw at this point, and I must say I probably have to agree because he has 3 pawns for the piece, which is quite a lot. Then again, he has a very, very solid pawn structure here, and he's just going to steamroll his pawns down the board. And I don't have a pass pawn, and it's difficult to create one. It's pretty much impossible to create one, actually. And once all the pawns are off the board, the rook and bishop against the rook is theoretically drawn, so not really a chance for me there. Well, maybe a practical chance, but objectively it's just a draw. So, but in time trouble, it was hard for him to calculate, and he made the wrong choice. And after the game, he told me that knight g5 was probably better. We weren't quite sure, but yeah, the engine is pretty clear with his judgment about the position. So yeah, all in all, it was quite an interesting game. I think he got tricked in the opening after b3. I think he missed that I could just win back the piece. And the middle game I probably played a bit too impatient. I should have controlled the position, and even though I told myself I should, I didn't really manage to. So I gave him a 1 escape with a draw there, which is something I'm not too happy about, but still I think it was a very nice game, so I should be really happy with the game and the result. So it's always nice to be the Grandmaster. Doesn't happen too often lately for me, so quite happy with the result. And yeah, now on 3.5 points out of 4 games, so that's pretty good. So enough confidence for the next games, and yeah, I want to thank you all for watching.